Good morning, friends. Today we will discuss about the role of serum ferritin in COVID-19 disease. Myself, Dr. S. K. Sutrkar, Department of Pathology. Uh, this serum ferritin has a lot of clinical importance because it is used to differentiate basically it is used to diagnose and differentiate the different type of anemias, especially the anemia related to the chronic disorders and iron deficiency anemia, which can be easily differentiated by the help of serum ferritin. Apart from this, now it has gained lot of importance in the COVID-19 disease. So we will discuss the how this serum ferritin is generated and the pathogenesis of COVID-19 disease. And this ferritin is basically related to the to know about whether the patient's prognosis is good or bad. So we will discuss about this today. So there are several studies done over these patients, and uh, a study done on 69 patients with severe chronic disease, and it is found that there is a elevated level of ferritins as compared to the patient with the non-severe disease. So it was concluded that these serum ferritin levels were closely related to the severity of the disease, and this is occurs due to the cytokine storm. Basically, this storm is there is elevation of inflammatory markers occurs, which result in the formation of different type of acute phase reactant or acute phase proteins. And this ferritin is one of the acute phase reactant, and it has been associated with the critical and life threatening illness. So it can be used as a marker of this inflammatory condition. So if we go through the cytokine storm, here you can see the COVID virus. Basically, it enters through the respiratory epithelium by binding with the ACE2 receptors, and once it binds and invade this respiratory epithelium, it is taken up by the alveolar macrophages and dendritic cells. So this alveolar macrophage and dendritic cell, they are basically activated and they release lot of cytokines, and these cytokines may be consist of interleukin 6, interleukin 1b, interleukin 12, and alpha tumor necrotic factor alpha, and these all together stimulate more and more inflammatory cells and recruit at the site of inflammation, and there is more and more cytokines they are generated. And these interleukin 6 are basically reaches to the liver, and it stimulates the hepatocytes to produce a special type of proteins, and these proteins are called as acute phase reactant. So in this there is a production of apoferritin as well as fibrinogen and the C-reactive protein. So these three they can be used as a marker of this inflammatory condition. Apart from this, the interleukin 6 is basically responsible for the leakage of uh, or injury to the endothelial cells and leakage of the fluid. And this interleukin 6 is also responsible for the tissue injury, and these all features result in the acute respiratory distress syndrome. So this is one of the important complication of this disease. So here we have already discussed this coronavirus has basically produces the inflammation, and these inflammatory cells, they will produce a lot of cytokines, especially the interleukin 6, and this interleukin 6 is increases the levels of the uh, ferritin. Apart from this, hepcidin levels are also increased. So hepcidin is a protein which is responsible for the regulating the iron, and both it help in the storage of the iron basically. And so both these proteins they make this iron unavailable for the utilization, and most of the iron it is stored in the form of ferritin, and because of that there is a increased level of ferritin. And so cytokine storm is responsible for the various clinical complications, especially it is related to the renal failure. There is a paralysis of immune system. Apart from this, there is tissue injury or cell death or lung injury, and the patient may undergo the shock, and there is a formation of multiple micro thrombi, or there is a activation of clotting cascades. and these all together basically result in the organ failure of that patient. So these are the few acute phase reactant. So as we have we can see in the list, there is a C-reactive protein, serum amyloid A protein, serum amyloid P component, fibrinogen, prothrombin, factor 8, and bone Willebrand factor. Apart from this, the ferritin and the uh, hepcidin. So these are the basically the different type of acute phase reactant. Apart from there are many acute phase reactant and which are positive and negative. So in positive acute phase reactant, these are basically elevated in the inflammatory conditions, and the negative acute phase reactant are basically decreases in the inflammatory condition. So if we discuss about the ferritin is discovered by the Lehnsberger in 1937, and it is a spherical protein cell which contain around 4500 iron atoms, and that the structure is basically composed of 24 subunits of the polypeptide chain, and it form a hollow structure in which this hollow region the iron is basically incorporated, and so it is considered to be the primary storage from the iron, and it is readily available for the erythropoiesis, and and it has two monomers, basically the L ferritin or light type ferritin, and the second is the H ferritin or F type ferritin, H type ferritin. So there is a little difference between these two ferritins. The light type ferritin is basically a basic ferritin and contains 174 amino acids, and it has 15 hydrophilic sites in which the iron is basically readily and tightly bound. And this type of iron is suitable for the this type of ferritin is basically suitable for the storage, and it is present in the liver, spleen, and the serum. Apart from the heavy type of ferritin, it is a acidic ferritin, and it contains 182 amino acids, and it has 7 hydrophobic sites which binds iron readily or loosely, and it is suitable for the use, and it is present in the heart, kidney, placenta, monocytes, lymphocytes, and erythrocytes. So these are the two forms of ferritin. If we go through the normal values of the ferritin, the adult males, they are basically having 20 to 250 nanogram per ml is considered to be the normal. The adult females, it is from 10 to 120 nanogram per ml. In female over 40 years, 12 to 263 nanogram per ml, and in the newborn it is around 25 to 200 nanogram per ml. So these are the normal values of the ferritin. If we go through the prognosis in case of COVID-19 disease, if the serum ferritin level is increased more than 500 nanogram per ml, it is considered to be a very serious problem, or the patient might be undergone the cytokines storm, and that result in various type of complications. Apart from this, such patient, if they are having lymphocyte count less than 5%, and so these two together will be monitor, and we will have such findings. The patient are usually having very poor prognosis. Apart from this ferritin can be used in relation to the different type of parameters which is used in iron profile, and by correlating with the other parameters, the different type of anemias and different type of conditions they can be diagnosed, especially the iron deficiency anemia, hemochromatosis, chronic illness, hemolytic anemia, sideroblastic anemia, and iron poisoning. So as you can see, in the iron deficiency anemia, the serum iron levels are very low, and the ferritin levels are also low. But in case of chronic illness, you can see the serum iron is low, but serum ferritin levels are normal or very high, or they may be high. Usually they are high. In case of hemolytic anemia, the serum iron is high as well as the ferritin is basically high. And in case of sideroblastic anemia, the serum iron may be normal or high, but the ferritin levels are high. So in most of the condition, the ferritin level are basically high except for the iron deficiency anemia. So this is all about the cytokine storm and the serum ferritins in relation to the COVID-19 disease. I hope this video will be useful for you. Thank you for watching this.